Welcome back to the show. My next guest has taken the idea of the obstacle course to new heights. It's the first of its kind here in Ottawa. It's called OCR Academy. I'm joined by El Capitan himself, Joshua Fry. Joshua, welcome.
Thank you.
Great to have you here, which means, by the way, the captain.
In Spanish.
In Spanish, yes. Thank you. Joshua just reminded me of that. Let's talk about this idea. Tell me a little bit of the history and your inspiration behind this.
Well, OCR Academy was, it all started with when I worked for Spartan Race.
Okay.
A little quick backstory is that I was raised in the foster care system, and I was raised to believe that I was just worth $20 a day. And so I didn't really have any sense of value or purpose, and it really became a deterrent to me in the way that I lived my life. And it got to the point where I had a bottle of Oxycocin in one hand and a bottle of Jack Daniels in another, and I thought, I'm going to go to the canal and I'm just going to let those two take what they need to do. And then ironically, my dog, Buster, came right in between my legs, and I just looked at him and I realized I had to take him out for a walk. But if I do this, then nobody's going to take him for a walk. And then all of a sudden, without even realizing, I had a purpose. So I went for a walk to the canal docks, and I decided that I wasn't going to do it. And then I needed something to keep me motivated, because I knew that exercise was good for the mind.
Right.
So it gave me a purpose. So I started training for the Ottawa Race Weekend. And ironically, where I wanted to go and end it is where my life actually started, because those stairs at the canal docks is pretty tough to run. So did my training, did my transformation, got into fitness, and then I did the race weekend, which was great. And then all of a sudden I found Spartan Race, and somebody was like, you need to do Spartan Race. And I was like, oh, okay, maybe I'll try that. And I went and did it, not knowing what it was, loved it.
Yeah, it's amazing, yeah.
And then then I did it more and more and more, and then I realized I wanted to work for the company, went and worked for them, traveled the country, building the obstacles, and then everyone would ask, Josh, I love the race, but I really wish there was somewhere I can go and train.
Great idea.
That's an interesting idea. Okay. When you hear it enough, you start to think.
Yeah.
Okay. So then I opened up OCR Academy, and it was kind of like where I wanted to take CrossFit and Spartan Race and introduce them to each other, and maybe a baby would be made.
So what does that look like then at the Academy? You've obviously set up this obstacle course that challenges people in different ways, and in particular young people, right? Yeah. That was a big focus for you.
Well, it wasn't the start. We originally wanted to do it for adults, and we wanted to kind of bring recess back for adults, and to come and train and have fun doing it. And Spartan Race is more for adults. But then we went on TV, actually. I think it was Rogers, and we did our first show, and then all of a sudden the phone started ringing. 60% of them were like, do you do stuff for kids? Do you do stuff for kids? And as a father, I know just about how much I would spend for my kid to get exercise, because that's what they're meant to do. They're not meant to be doing this.
Yeah.
They're not meant to be doing that. They're meant to move, to jump, to climb, to swing.
I agree.
And they need a place to go and do that. And me as a parent, I know what I would pay to give that to them. And so we switched our focus, and we became more kid-focused, and they've taught me so much.
Yeah.
It's great.
Well, and it's not just about the physical. You also talk about, the fact that, there's no such thing as a bad kid, right? And kids have certain needs, and sometimes we don't meet those needs. What are some of those needs that you've learned?
Well, what I've learned with kids is that you're right, there is no such thing as a bad kid, because then if we focus on the bad, then we're focusing on the behavior, and we're not realizing that we're not raising kids, we're raising future adults, right? And we need to be able to mentor these kids and teach them things. And what I've learned is that every kid wants to be heard, every kid wants to be validated, and every kid wants to be understood. They also really love video games.
They do.
And video games operates on boundaries and consequences.
Yeah.
If I was to give a kid the golden gun, and you can just go infinite, the kid would be like, it's not that fun after about 15, 20 minutes. So even though they love it, they realize they live in a world of boundaries and consequences. And so we want to put the kids in a situation where they're doing dangerous things carefully. Keyword carefully.
Yeah.
Dangerous things carefully, but under the premise that there are boundaries and there are consequences. If you operate within those boundaries, you can have a lot of fun. And as long as we let the kid know that I hear you, I understand what you're saying, and you are upset, I validate those feelings. You are right to feel this way. If I was you, I'd feel that way too.
Interesting that you mentioned validation. We were just talking during Mental Health Week here on the show, and that was one of the topics, was validation and how to talk to people properly. And I just love that you bring it up, especially with children, because we were actually talking about it in particular with seniors and caregivers dealing with that loved one that's going through a difficult time. What is the feedback from young people must be amazing,
we're getting
Joshua.
Repeat customers. So every year for summer camp, we're getting some of the new kids coming. We as parents, we remember Carlton, or we remember some of the other camps that we went to as a kid.
Yeah.
And they want to send their kids to that camp. Now, I think that we're there because we survived the last 6 years, the last 2 in particular. We're still here, that we have an opportunity, I think, to maybe one day these kids can take their kids. And the resiliency that we give them, and the confidence that they get. When they get to that 12-foot slip ramp, you climb up a rope, you get to 12 feet up in the air, and you jump off into a crash mat. It's scary up there. You might as well be on the CN Tower on the glass floor. The kids are freaking out. But then when they jump off of it, they're like, whoa, this is so much fun. And they want to go and do it again and again and again. And they get that confidence level, and they're doing something dangerously, but safely.
You run year-round, not just summer camps, but I imagine summer camps probably fill up quickly. Tell everybody at home how they can get their child involved.
OCRacademy.ca, the kids section, you can register online, or you can give us a call. You can even show up. We have kids classes, open gym, birthday parties, team building.
Nice.
Adult classes.
I was going to say, I'll be remiss if we didn't mention adult classes, because I love this idea of, getting back that childhood in you. I think it's still in all of us, right? Yep. I mean, I'm pretty lucky in the job that I do because I get to act like a kid and dance like a fool on the show, but
you did good, by the way.
Oh, thanks, man. I really appreciate it. Joshua, really love the philosophy. Thank you so much for joining us. Really appreciate the time today. Yep. Are you running in race weekend?
Yes.
Okay. Well, I might see you there because we'll have full coverage of race weekend here on Rogers TV as well. Visit that website, as I said, to find out more information about OCR. We'll be right back.